Hello everybody, AJ Ryzik here, and today we're going to take a look at Ubuntu Mate 14.04. First of all, I want to say sorry for not posting recently. I know I've been behind on getting videos up, but kind of took a break from doing the videos for a little bit. Was trying to get a little more work done in the home office, and I know from my little screenshot down here you really can't see much, but I did get my new computer desk built, which you can see it in that picture from on G Plus. I know there's a whole bunch of junk on the top, but the day that we took the shot, I just finished building the desk, just got it put in, and my all the stuff that was in the drawers and on top of the old desk. We just basically dumped it all on top so that we could get the old desk moved out, and partly that was my stepdaughter in a rush to get it moved to her bedroom because she was all excited about inheriting the old desk. But anyway, so I got the new desk built, which gives me about 8 feet. It's that length right there on the desk is just under 8 feet, so I got plenty of room to spread out and work and all that kind of stuff. So of course, the home office isn't done yet, but it is a little closer. So, eventually when I get everything done in this office, I'll do maybe like a little video tour or something like that. But it's still a work in progress. Anyway, so we're looking at Ubuntu Mate 14.04, and this is going to be we're doing a review of it today. And it's kind of like part one because I am switching my main desktop over to Ubuntu Mate 14.04. I've been using Ubuntu 14.04 and Ubuntu Gnome, both of those for a while. And not that there's anything wrong with either of those distributions. I just, I was ready for something different, and I had thought about going the KDE route for a while because it's been a while since I did KDE, but I thought, KDE I'll hold off until Plasma 5 or 5.2, whatever we're up to right now, until that's a bit more stable and I can use that as the main desktop. So anyway, I'm doing a review in this video, and then I'll have a few follow-up videos of me setting up the desktop, how I set things up, how I like it, all the software I add, all that kind of stuff. And some of that might be a little bit monotonous for the more experienced Linux users out there, but I have had a bunch of requests from new users on how do you do this, that, all kinds of stuff that us more experienced users might see as well. That's really simple, but might be a little confusing or difficult for the new users. So I'll do a little series on setting up the desktop, and hopefully the new users out there will find it a little bit helpful and help them with some of their problems, issues, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, Ubuntu Mate 14.04. Now, I already reviewed 14.10, so you may be like, why am I reviewing 14.04? Well, because of when the whole Ubuntu Mate distribution was developed, it was in the process of being developed while 14.10 was in the process of being developed and released. So it was developed for 14.10. After 14.10 came out, then the development team went back and did the 14.04 version, and in a lot of respects it is the more advanced version, and I'll kind of get to that in a minute. But the reason they went back and did a 14.04 version is because 14.04 is a long-term support release, so the base Ubuntu code will be supported for 5 years, as opposed to the non-long-term support releases, like 14.10, when 15.04 comes out, and when 15, basically, if you're unfamiliar with how the Ubuntu long-term support releases come out, it's every 2 years. So 14.04 is a long-term support release, then 1604 will be the next long-term support release. They get supported for 5 years. The non-long-term support releases is just a matter of months. Is it 9, 10 months? I can't remember off the top of my head, but anyway, it's less than a year. So, anyway, that's why they went back and did the 1404 release. And like I said, it is the more, probably advanced isn't the word for it, but more up to date. It's got more bug fixes and whatnot. And let me grab right here is, we'll go and we'll look at the release notes. What's changed since 1410. And like you said, a lot of this is, bug fixes. We synced this, we've synced that, updated this. But probably like the most significant things for from a user standpoint, we got some new themes, more community wallpapers, and then they've added the mate menu and the mate tweak, which are forks of Mint menu. And not as a toot my own horn thing, but I think I gave Martin Winpress the idea for the mate menu, because back in the 1410 version, I had shown how to go and basically grab the Mint menu from the Linux Mint repositories and use that on your Ubuntu Mate distribution. Well, basically what he did was he took that code, stripped out all of the Mint specific searches and all that kind of stuff, and ported that Mint menu over to Ubuntu Mate. And basically, the Mate tweak, he basically did the same thing for Mint and desktop. So, I like to think that I gave him the idea for the Mate menu. Whether I did or not, I don't know, but I guess it's bragging rights. I don't know, but anyway. So anyway, those are probably kind of big deals, and I'll show you those in a minute. So besides those little tools there, we've also gone and replaced Totem with VLC for your video watching needs, which is a good change. And actually, there was a poll on the Google Plus community page, asking, would you rather switch from Totem to VLC? And I think it was pretty much overwhelming. VLC, I mean, it plays everything. It works on just about every distribution, and easy to work with. You can reskin it to make it look the way you want it. I mean, why wouldn't you go with VLC? I can tell you from experience with Totem that even though technically it says that it supports MP4 format, I record my videos in MP4 and it won't play on Totem. But then I will go and check my videos with VLC, plays with no problem. So, why, I don't know, but like I said, VLC seems to just it plays everything, great to work with. So I mean, that was a smart move. So for the most part, a majority of what we're looking at here is the same from the 1410 release. We are still fairly light on resources. As you can see right now, memory wise, I'm using just under a gig of memory, and that is with running my screen recorder and the webcam and all kinds of stuff in the background. I think baseline memory use, I was around 325 megs, which not quite as light as say Ubuntu, but you're still fairly light, way lighter than say Unity or Gnome 3. I think Gnome 3 recently, unless you've got a lot of Gnome extensions running, you're generally in the 500 to 600 megabyte range for a baseline. Unity is usually in the 700s, as is KDE. Ubuntu is like 225, 250, and Lubuntu with the LXDE desktop, that sucker's down like at 125, 150, something like that. That sucker's really light on the resources, but um, the downside to Lubuntu is you are really limited as far as what the desktop can do when you compare it to, say, Mate or the XFCE version, any of those other desktops. Let me get this guy out of the way. So anyway, I think mainly I'll take a look at what's new, what's different in this release here. Um, and let's go and we will find that mate tweak. Probably the easiest way is just pull up in the control center. One of the things I like about Mate is that you've got everything right here, links to all of your settings and all that. Whereas in some other desktop environments, you got this control center for these functions, but then you got this other control center that you go to for changing these settings, and then this other place that you go for these settings. It's all right here. So, really like that. But anyway, mate tweak. Um, so from here, you can go and uh, either add desktop icons or get rid of desktop icons. Personally, I like a clean desktop, so I usually uncheck all of those. Interface, so you can specify whether you want icons shown on the menus, icons on the buttons, input method on contextual menus, all this stuff. How you want your buttons labeled, text beside the items, icons only, text below, icon size, all that kind of stuff. And then this last window setting is kind of big for those who want to use Compiz, in that it allows you to go and just from a simple click interface switch which window manager you want to use. Now I don't have Compiz installed, so as you can see when I click it, it doesn't do anything. But had I installed Compiz on here, you'd be able to click here, you'd have a drop down menu. I could switch between Marco and Compiz right here. Whereas before you would need to have you'd either need to go and work from the terminal to change your system settings, or you would need to go and switch it by like say decomp editor. So that does make, if you're using Compiz and want to be able to switch between Marco and Compiz, does make that a whole lot easier. You can change your button layout left to right. You see how it switched right there. I prefer over on the right, so I'm just going to leave that. And then as far as performance, don't show window content while dragging them, and you can either turn on or turn off the composition. So that gives you a little, a nicer look to everything. Uh, you know, Me personally, I'm going to stick with Marco because I really don't need the Compiz effects, but I will use the compositing, um, just because it does make things look a little nicer. It really doesn't use that much more resources. All right, let me close this guy up. Now, by default, we talked about the mate menu being added. By default, it is not added to one of the panels. We still, by default, use the old style, Gnome 2 style, I guess you could call it, menu up here, which gives you the applications, places, and system. Let me go and we'll add the mate menu just so you can take a look at it. And you can do like just a search. And there we go, right there, mate menu, and we'll add that. Close this up just so you can see it. And personally, this is the menu that when I'll go and set up my desktop, this is what I will switch to. Not as much because of the menu itself, but personally, I don't like this style of menu. It's never been my thing. It uses up a lot of space on your panels. I know a lot of people like it just because they got used to it back in the old GNOME 2 days, and that's fine. It's just not for me. I'm not much of a menu person, but if I'm going to use one, I like this one better. mainly because generally when I'm looking up or let's say I need to start up LibreOffice or whatever program I need to start up, I generally know what the name of the program is, so I don't have to scroll through menus. I can just open this up and say LibreOffice and go from there. Um, the categories, if you don't know the name of the program you're going for, those are nice. But I pretty much, I'm very much a keyboard driven person, so the search is nice. Um, and on the occasion that I do need to look for something because I have that brain fart and can't remember the name of the program I need, I can go and still go through it. Um, Plus, your mate menu is somewhat customizable. Um, you can set up favorites and that sort of thing. So it's a nice menu. And of course, it's not going to be right for everybody. Like I said, a lot of people like this old school menu, and that's fine. Um, but that's one of the beauties of the Mate desktop is that you can set it up the way that you want. Because I mean, here, let's go. I mean, there's even other menus available. If you just type in menu, you got bits to like a basic application launcher you can add to the panel. You can add this Gnome main menu, which is somewhat similar to this mate menu. Let me go and we'll add that just so you can take a look at it here. There you see you still got the search, but it's kind of laid out different. I like the layout on this one better. Get rid of that. Get rid of that one. And then can't remember. Is this the one I'm thinking of? Let's see. Yeah, this is just the very old style, just simple drop down. And a lot of people like this. It's very compact. Um, if you know what category you're looking for, it's easy to scroll through. You do not have the search function, which some people are looking for. But I mean, personally, if I only had a choice between this one and then this one over here, I would pick this one. But like I said, it's just me. But like I said, one of the beauties here is you can set this desktop just the way that you like. Let me get rid of these guys. And speaking of setting up the desktop, however you want, um, I talked about how you've got some more themes added and more backgrounds, that sort of thing. If you look here, you've got quite a variety of different themes that are available by default. Same thing with the backgrounds. Of course, you can always go add more themes and add more backgrounds. When you go here to your font setting, you can set whatever font that you want and all that kind of stuff and then also how you want it rendered and all that kind of stuff. So one small issue that I ran into, and it took me a little while to figure it out. Once I figured out what the issue was, it was easy to fix, but it took me a little bit of time to figure it out. I was having a lot of video tearing when using Firefox. And, at first I thought, well, maybe it's because I'm using the proprietary, or not the proprietary, but the open source video drivers, because I've got an AMD Sapphire 7700 video card in my desktop computer. I'm thinking, okay, it's because I'm not using the proprietary driver. So I went and you go through the additional drivers. I went and installed the AMD Catalyst driver. Was still getting the tearing even with going into the Catalyst Control Center, and you've got a setting on there. Let me go and pull it up. Where is it? Is it under display options? There it is, tear free. You can go and enable this tear free mode. I had enabled that. I was still getting the video tearing. So it's like, okay, what's the problem? because I didn't have this problem when I reviewed 1410. And I was trying to think, okay, what are the differences? And most of the differences, you wouldn't expect it to cause a problem with video. And then I kind of came on the idea, well, it's a different kernel. Maybe it was a kernel issue. So I went and updated my kernel to the 3.18 kernel, and lo and behold, it fixed everything. So just something to throw out there for anybody else that might have video issues, especially if you've got you know not an aftermarket video card. Um, you know, Try going with a different kernel, and maybe that'll fix your issues. Um, I know that I was watching a video put out by Jeff Linux Turner. He was having video tearing problems in Ubuntu 14.04. I don't know if the same, if that would fix his problems, but did send him a message, just an FYI, maybe this will help you out and fix your problem. So hopefully that fixes his issues too. But other than that one small thing, I haven't had any issues with this distribution. No crashes, no burns, nothing so far. So very happy with the distribution. So on that note, I think that finishes up this review. I know it's not as long as most of my other reviews, but I really just wanted to focus on what's new and that sort of thing. No real point in rehashing stuff that we've already talked about. You can always go back and take a look at my review of the 1410 version. I will throw links up on this video so that if you want to go and see my desktop setup on how I go and tweak this distribution so it fits my personality and how I work and all that kind of stuff. So you can check those out. As always, give us a big old thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and be sure to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And on that note, I will see you on the next video. Thanks a lot.